Welcome to the Explainer. So you're dealing with a stubborn plumbing backup. Trust me, we've all been there, and it is endlessly frustrating. Suddenly, two main solutions pop up: drain snaking and hydrojetting. Now, both are absolutely fantastic at what they do, but, and this is huge, they are not interchangeable. Figuring out exactly how they work, where they shine, and where they fall short is going to save you a ton of time, a bunch of money, and literally so many headaches down the line.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this. Your drain is backed up right now. Water's pooling, panic is setting in. Do you snake it or do you jet it? That's the million-dollar question, right? It's that critical moment when you're staring down a clogged line, phone in hand, ready to call a pro. And here's the thing, choosing the wrong tool could mean you're throwing money at a fix that only lasts a few days, or even worse, you could actually damage your plumbing system. So we're going to unpack the source material today and figure out exactly which tool you need to confidently make that call.
All right, Section 1, let's look at Contender 1, drain sneaking. This is your go-to for mechanical removal for localized clogs.
You might hear this called cable or auger clearing. Think of it as the classic quick reaction strike to a sudden roadblock in your pipes. Basically, snaking involves feeding a rotating cable right down into the drain line. It's totally mechanical. The tool physically pushes its way through to literally break up those common, everyday clogs. We're talking hair clumps, a bit of grease, or, compacted debris that somehow got jammed in there. It acts like a drill, physically punching a pathway right through the blockage so water can finally flow again. Because it's purely mechanical, it's a stellar first step when the problem is isolated to one specific spot and your pipes aren't entirely coated in grime.
So why do we love snaking? Well, it's a massively popular first line of defense simply because it is fast. For typical clogs, you're in and out. And because it's quicker and doesn't need crazy heavy machinery, it's usually much less expensive up front. Plus, and this is key, it is absolutely excellent for navigating those tricky bends in your pipes. It easily reaches obstructions stuck in traps where debris naturally wants to settle. Honestly, for a lot of partial blockages, a basic snake can completely restore your flow without you having to shell out for a heavy-duty, aggressive cleaning.
But of course, there are limitations, and honestly, this is where so many people get frustrated. The biggest drawback here is that snaking only removes the immediate obstacle. It does not actually clean the walls of your pipes. So, if your pipe is lined with thick grease, hard scale, or sticky residue, the snake basically just pokes a tiny hole right through the center of the mess. It leaves all that nasty residue clinging to the walls. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means you've probably just bought a temporary fix. The line might reopen for a bit, but you're almost guaranteed to get repeat backups soon after. Also, if the clog is spread out or layered along the entire length of the pipe, yeah, a standard cable just isn't going to cut it.
Okay, let's move to and see how this builds in Section 2. Contender 2, hydrojetting, high-pressure deep cleaning for stubborn buildup.
So if snaking is your quick, localized strike, hydrojetting is bringing out the big guns. It's the heavy-duty option. It uses a specialized machine to blast a ridiculously powerful, high-pressure stream of water straight through the line. And this immense force, it doesn't just poke a hole. No way. It actively cuts through and violently flushes out heavy, stubborn buildup. We are talking thick, nasty sludge, rock-hard mineral deposits, layers of deep grease, and all sorts of organic matter. Unlike a snake that just clears a narrow little path, hydrojetting is designed to totally scour and clean the entire interior surface. It practically leaves the inside of your pipe looking brand new.
The pros of jetting are absolutely all about your long-term pipe health. It is incredibly thorough. Honestly, it's the ultimate fix for those nightmare, persistent clogs that just keep haunting you month after month. Because it completely washes away all that accumulated gunk on the walls, it actively prevents future restrictions. You can think of it as a total preventative reset for a chronically sick plumbing line, one that's just been progressively narrowing over the years. It is especially ideal when you've already tried snaking a few times and those attempts just flat out failed to give you a long-term fix.
But hold on a second. We really need to hit the brakes here and issue a massive warning. High pressure can actually worsen damage in older, compromised plumbing systems. Because hydrojetting uses such intense pressure, it is absolutely not a one-size-fits-all solution. If your pipes have weak spots, like say significant cracks, badly deteriorated joints, or areas where tree roots have heavily pushed their way in, blasting them with a fire hose of high-pressure water could literally destroy the pipe. It could turn a bad situation into an absolute disaster. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the showdown, making the right choice for your pipes.
We've seen the quick mechanical punch of the drain snake, And we've explored the powerful scouring flush of the hydrojet. And this brilliantly illustrates how to build a clear decision matrix for yourself. Let's look side by side. On one hand, choose snaking for localized clogs. If it's just a clump of hair caught in a bend or a random object dropped down a drain, that quick mechanical removal will restore your flow cheaply and easily. On the other hand, choose hydrojetting for repeated backups. If your line is choking on years of heavy grease or you need deep, long-term cleaning to totally reset the system, the hydrojet is your undisputed champion. It completely comes down to identifying the true cause of the clog and figuring out how extensive the buildup actually is.
You know, the whole debate is captured perfectly in this quote right from our source material. Snaking often targets what's in the way, while hydrojetting targets what's on the pipe walls. I really want you to memorize this. Seriously, it is the absolute golden rule and the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. It's so simple. If something is blocking the path, pull it out with a snake. But if the path itself is shrinking because the walls are coated in gunk, you've got to wash those walls with a hydrojet.
So, before you make your final call, step 1 is always matching the method to the exact cause. Don't just guess. Step 2, and I cannot emphasize this enough, always ask for a video inspection before anyone attempts high-pressure cleaning on your home. This is crucial. A real professional will send a camera down your pipes first to visually confirm the line is structurally sound. You have to know the pipe can handle the intense water pressure without bursting. And step 3, always follow a plumber's specific guidance, especially if you're dealing with older pipes, really weird irregular blockages, or if multiple drains are backing up at once. That usually means there's a much deeper, more complex issue lurking down there.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this final question. Which method is the missing piece to solving your home's recurring plumbing issues? Is it a quick, mechanical snake to grab a localized blockage? Or is it finally time for a thorough, high-pressure hydrojetting to completely reset a chronically narrowing pipe? Ultimately, the best outcome always comes from knowing exactly what's going on inside your plumbing and matching the right cure to the disease. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And hey, here's to clear, perfectly flowing pipes in your future.